In my early days, before I really knew how people named their babies or what common names were, I was working in kangaroo mother care, which is where we put all the preterm small babies. And so it's called kangaroo because they go skin to skin on mom, and that is the safest way to keep any baby warm, who's healthy enough to be in that position. So we had all these little preterm babies in this room, and two of them, the twins, had finally reached the goal weight to be able to go home. And on that final day is when the moms choose the name. And they don't like to choose the name before that because they're not sure that the baby will survive. And so they don't kind of want to put themselves through that heartache, additional heartache, by already having the name picked out. So I had these health passports, which are these little booklets where you put all the information for the baby's hospital stay. And as the doctors, we have to fill everything out, including the name. So I asked the mom, and I could see on her face, usually when the moms are going home, they're actually like a little bit giddy because they've been in this horribly hot room for 2 to 3 months as their babies have been gaining weight. And it's a really hard place to be. And so this mom just didn't have that joy. So I kind of already had the sense that there was something wrong. And then when I asked her the name, she said, Mavuto ndi Chisoni. And I had to have her like whisper it like she was whispering it. So I had to keep leaning forward. And then I sort of inadvertently said it loud enough so that the other moms could hear. I said, Mavuto and Chisoni. Am I saying it right? And I'm trying to spell it out. And then the other moms heard and they were like, oh, Bodza, Bodza, which is like a Chichewa way of saying like shame, for shame, like false. It's just like you can use it in multiple settings, but they were absolutely shaming her. And then she just her face just changed and it just looked very hardened, just very stoic. She didn't start crying or get emotional. She just looked very resolute, like I'm not going back on this. So I was like, my TJ was not good enough for this. This is something deep and painful, and we need some privacy, and I need to get to the bottom of this. So I went and got our wonderful female chaplain who is designated to maternity and neonatal. I had to ask the chaplain, what does Mavuto and Chisoni mean? And she went like this. She said, it means trouble and sorrow. So we went together and we took the mom outside and had some privacy and talked to her. And it turned out that her husband had infected her with HIV during her pregnancy. And then because the men don't have to get tested, but the women do when they're pregnant, she was the one who tested positive first. So she said, he's the only person I've ever been with, but I'm the one who tested positive first. So now he's blaming me and he left me. And I don't have any way to make money. And I'm going to go home with these babies. And I've never had children before. And we're just all going to die. And she just couldn't see any hope in that. And so Janet, our wonderful chaplain, just spent just a beautifully long amount of time with her, speaking the truth of God's hope and the light of Christ into her life, and shared what plan God has for us, even when all we see is the brick wall right in front of our face. And she shared with her, the different ways that maybe the hospital could support. So there was some tangible physical elements of hope, and then there were also the spiritual side of, the Lord has hope for you. You are not cast off. He sees you, and he values you even when other people don't. And she also spoke about justice. And yeah, I think she spent a really long time with her explaining. And anyways, at the end, the mom came back inside and she was smiling and she had a very different look of peace on her face. And I was a little hesitant, and she said, I want to change their names. And she said, I want to change their names to Zikomo and Yamakani, which is thanks and praise. And that was like um, just an incredible eye-opening for me, how much one-on-one counseling and speaking hope. And, we didn't change her circumstances. She was still going to go home and still be abandoned and still be a new mom in an overwhelming circumstance. But hearing the gospel changed her outlook. It changed her perspective. And that definitely changed me that day too, to see how the Lord can pick us up and turn us around and set us on solid ground again, when we're drowning